It's now time for Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. It began as a podcast, went live on the net, and transformed into a full-blown empire. It's the only daily boxing talk show on the planet, hosted by the only guy with the balls to do it. Many have stepped into the ring. Many have tried to take the belt. And one by one, they've fallen. Another victim of the undisputed heavyweight champion of boxing talk radio. Talkin' Boxing with Billy C is on now.
My style is impetuous, my defense is impregnable, and I'm just ferocious. I want your heart.
Coming to you live from the Billy C Studios in Lake George, New York. I'm Bill Calagione. It's time for the Billy C Show. Good morning, good day, good evening. Whenever you're listening, I hope you're doing all right today. Today's show is being brought to us in part by Sal's Neighborhood Pizzeria, an Italian restaurant located on St. Simon's Island in Georgia. Check out the website, www.salsneighborhoodpizzeria.com. Or give my man a call, 912-268-2328, 912-268-2328. Find out why I go all the way to St. Simon's to get an authentic Italian meal. And speaking of Sal, I know he's ready to put his headset and mic on because he's sitting here staring at the camera. But anyway, today's show is also being brought. See, Sal's so glad that I actually have a camera shot on him. Today's show is also being brought to us in part by... Oh, yeah. My book. Tom Molyneux, From Bondage, The Baddest Man on the Planet, is available right now where all good books are sold. And you can get a copy of it right now while you're watching or listening to the show. Just go to barnesandnoble.com or amazon.com. Find out why I'm so adamant about getting Tom Molyneux's story told. Before we start off, I want to give a shout out to my man, George Russell. And I want to thank him. We're being added to a new radio station in Nashua, New Hampshire, WSMN 1590. Check it out because you can watch this radio station online if you're not in the listening area. Just go to WSMN1590.com and do me a favor, go check it out. And tell Big George Russell, Billy C says hey, and that you're going to be tuning in and watching and listening to our show. He's only going to be airing it at first for once a week, so we will be giving him our blast from the past version of the show and some other stuff. So hopefully they'll squeeze us in. We'd love to be on there 5 days a week. But WSMN 1590, another new affiliate for our show. And, I also want to make one thing perfectly clear. I was checking out some comments, and I know we stream on YouTube, and I know we have, not a huge audience on YouTube, but we definitely have a presence on YouTube. And I got to be honest with you. The fans, and no disrespect to some of you guys that are on YouTube that like the show, but there's a lot of young people that don't like the show. And they make these ignorant statements like, Billy C's bad for boxing. Billy C hates American fighters. Billy C, no, you guys don't listen. You see, this is the problem with the youth of today. You guys don't listen. You don't listen to what I say. I never said I didn't like the United States fighters. I said I don't like their approach with, all they care about is the money. I like the UK and European fighters because they're real fighters. They're throwback fighters. It's not all about the money. The problem with a lot of the young people today, specifically YouTubers, is that you guys drank the Kool-Aid bullshit from Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather, hey, the guy was a talented fighter, no question about it, but wasn't the best ever. And if you think he is, I feel sorry for you. And speaking of Mayweather, I want to know what is it with the Mayweathers? Why do they beat up women? Why did the Mayweathers beat up women? Apparently, Floyd Mayweather Sr., Papa Mayweather, has pled not guilty to the assault charges that were in the news the other day. Apparently, it's been alleged that he beat the hell out of a woman on the night of the Triple G Canelo Alvarez fight in Vegas on September 16th. Apparently, there was a warrant for his arrest. He turned himself in yesterday and said not guilty. His version is that the woman is just trying to get something out of him. But let's make no mistake, Papa Mayweather has a history of battering women, just like his son, who did time for it. So, I mean, come on. I just wonder, here are two guys, and Floyd Sr. Was a terrific fighter in his day, too. I just want to know why they feel they have to beat up on women. I mean, here they are, in arguably, the toughest sport in the world, and they step in the ring and they fight men. They spar and train hard. Why do they got to beat up women? I don't understand it. Does it make you feel macho? I don't get it. And obviously it's a problem. Not only for Floyd Sr. but Floyd Jr. I don't know about the other Mayweathers. I know Jeff. Jeff Mayweather is probably the most grounded of all of them. So I don't know. My question is, why do the Mayweathers feel they got to beat up women? Joining me right now is my man Sal Rocky Senecola, and yeah, you got your headset on, you got the mic ready. Good thing I was watching you, but I just don't get it, man. I don't understand what it is. Now, with all due respect, it's alleged, and Papa Mayweather has pled not guilty, so he'll have his day in court. But I just don't understand it, man. I mean, can't they find something better to do with their hands? Maybe go in the bathroom and beat one off. I don't know. But what do you think? Did I just say that?
After that, I don't know what to say, but I'm going to tell you this.
So what's your thoughts, Sal?
There is no reason in the world any man should ever raise a hand to a woman. And, I'm not being sexist by that. I'm not being it's just not right. You do not do that. Men are physically stronger. I don't even have to explain myself. You're taught from day one, at least I was, that you never hit a girl. You never hit a woman. And you never do. And you never did. I've never in my life have ever raised any hand or gesture to a woman. And I never will. And it's not even in my makeup or conception of how you can do that. It's beyond my understanding. So when I hear there's smoke here or fire, and that this is allegedly happening, it's disgusting. It's just you cannot make up any excuses for it. And I don't know. We'll see how this pans out, but it's a no.
I agree. It's pretty sad that we even have to talk about it. But
no, it is.
But anyway. Forget that. There's a big fight this weekend. Aleksandr Usyk against Mairis Briedis. It's part of the World Boxing Super Series. I will break down that fight and give you my predictions a little bit later on the show. But Sal, what do you think about us getting added to another radio affiliate, WSMN 1590 in New Hampshire, Nashua, New Hampshire? I'm thinking maybe Nashua is the biggest city in New Hampshire, but people could check it out, WSMN1590.com. What's your thoughts?
I think it's fantastic, Bill. That's it. We start by one station, two stations, three stations, 4, 5. Well, we went there once before. Anyway, I think it's fantastic, Bill. And you know what? We have a great time doing this show, and we have a lot of our worldwide guest base that has helped us achieve whatever gains we are getting right now. And it's all due to your hard work and mapping out and doing this show daily. People don't realize the hours and the time that you actually put into the show for preparation.
The truth of the matter is they make number 38, I think, that we're on now.
That's great.
And all independent. We're syndicated independently. So, but anyway, I don't want to toot our own horn. But you know what I do want to do is
humility.
I was getting criticized yesterday by some Utes. I'm assuming they were Utes on specifically YouTube, and that's the only places that I ever see real negative comments. And the funny thing is, I always say to myself, people, they have a pretty easy way. If you don't like the show, don't watch it, right? I mean, half the time they never miss a show, and all they want to do is complain. But what bothers me, Sal, is I've never said that I don't like American fighters. I've never said that. What I don't like is their attitude towards the fight game, where you have mentioned, and we talked about it specifically yesterday, you have mentioned that, from years gone by, a lot of the reason, let's make no mistake, just, and again, something that you've said many times, they call it prize fighting for a reason. You're fighting for money. We get it. But at some point in time, because boxing is the nature of what it is, two guys going at it, pride and proving you're the best by doing, is really the ultimate. And it just seems that the majority of American fighters, now I think Errol Spence is an exception. Terrence Crawford is an exception. There are guys that seemingly want to make the fights happen, but it seems like a majority of these guys are in it for one reason, and that's the money. They don't care about fighting the best. They care about the biggest purse, which I understand. I'm never going to knock someone for trying to do the best they can, But I don't think it's fair that I get blanketed in for suggesting that I don't. He doesn't like any American fighters because he all he does is talk about the Brits. But the Brits, they're willing to fight. You see these guys at a young point in their careers willing to step it up, and the fans seem more intelligent on the sport because they know that one loss, two losses, even five losses doesn't ruin a fighter's career. And I think that that's the big difference here. I think that the powers that be here in the States feel that they can't sell a fight if a fighter has a loss. So the end result is they coddle the fighter. Just like we were talking about yesterday, that Robert Easter fight from this past weekend against Javier Fortuna. Easter didn't look all that spectacular, and he's a champion.
Well, you're so right. And it's not that, hey, listen, I love American fighters. And the thing is this, as I often make that reference to the yesteryear that I was active in the 70s and 80s, was a real special time, I believe, for a lot of my constituents. And I remember coming up along the pathway. Vinny Pazienza and I and Bobby Ches, we were like homegrown locally there, and we would share a lot of our thoughts and a lot of our anticipation, a lot of our ideas, like, oh, I can't wait to fight this. Oh, I want to fight that. I can't. We were jumping at the bit. We didn't question money. We didn't question anything about that because we just knew once we get to the top, or if you get to the top, everything else will follow. It's like that old book, Do What You Love and Money Will Come, or something like that. But the bottom line is, yes, it also has to be a balance. You have to be concerned and aware of what's going on monetarily in your career. Yes, but the bottom line, the drivers, what means your incentive. What is it? Is the fire? Is it the money? That's a good driver. Is it the passion? Is it the glory? Is it the fame? Is it the fulfillment of doing something that is so difficult and so hard that only a top percentage gets to do? It could be a lot of things. But whatever it is, you got to bite the bullet. And you've got to say, hey, this is my driver. This is what my incentive is. I want to be the best. The bottom line is you got to chomp at the bit. And you got to be willing to fight the very best out there. And that's the whole thing. That's the incentive. So it's not so much the money. It's not so much this or that with American fighters. It's that you think, in my opinion, Bill, I'm not speaking for yourself, is that some of the translation of the incentive has been lost or mulled by all the ancillary things that happen around a fighter's life or whatever heck, where it should be the passion, hey, I want to prove I'm the best. Let's get in the ring with whoever is there, and I don't care what it takes. That's the old fire in the gut.
Yeah, listen, you can't fighters have to be able to make a living, and I'm okay for that. But like for an example, recently, Mikey Garcia, and anyone that listens to the show knows I love Mikey Garcia, and Mikey Garcia has proven time and time again that he's an elite fighter. But yes, he gets an opportunity to fight a big fight. They couldn't come up with money. They gave him more money to fight on X network. I'm not going to plug the network or whatever. And he's fighting Sergey Lipinets. And I'm saying to myself, okay, great. That's great for Mikey Garcia. He just landed an easier fight for more money. There you go, right? So I mean, how do you criticize, a guy that was able to do that? But on the other hand, what's it going to prove? Is there anyone out there that thinks, aside from Sergey Lipinets' family, that thinks that he's got a chance against Garcia? Mikey Garcia is going to, beat him. I mean, we were talking about this yesterday. Boxing, what boxing needs is the good fights. That's what keeps the fans hooked. You want to set the hook and reel them in. What they do is they set the hook and they play with them a little bit and they cut the line. And then all of a sudden, we got another one on. Let's play around a little bit. And that's why you don't have those long-term fans. You have short-term fans. You don't have. We talk about other sports like football, baseball, etc. You're born into that in a way. Your parents were fans of such and such team, and next thing you know, most of the time you are. Boxing's not like that. Very few people get roped into that sport. Sal, aren't you watching the time, man? I mean,
yes, I was going to just hint to you. It's 1 minute past.
That's right. I know. We got to take a break.
Come on.
Good thing I'm supposed to be counting on Sal.
I looked at it 2 minutes ago.
Jeez.
I was just waiting for you to type it out.
All right, we'll be back in 2.
Billy C will be right back.
Broken air conditioning, $4,400. Failing refrigerator, $2,500. Don't let outrageous repair and replacement bills like these bust your budget. Get the First American Home Warranty Plan. And when a covered appliance or system breaks, we'll repair it or replace it for you.
We had a high-end dishwasher go kaput. They put it in a brand new dishwasher.
We have plans that cover air conditioning, most appliances, plus heating, plumbing, electrical systems, and much more. Plans start as low as $25 a month. Why let a major appliance or system breakdown bust your budget or go through the hassle of finding trustworthy service people? Last year alone, we saved our customers over $120 million. Don't wait until something breaks and you're stuck with a huge bill.
You save a lot of money. It's absolutely worth it.
If you don't have First American Warranty, get it.
Call 1-800-946-6234 for your free no-obligation quote.
Looks like you're not sleeping well.
How did you know? And Megan!
Hey, you're that guy.
The My Pillow guy.
That's right, and I'm here to help you get the best sleep of your lives. Just like all of you out there, I had problems sleeping. I had tried every pillow out there and none of them worked. That's why I invented My Pillow. My patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs and helps keep your neck aligned. My Pillow will hold its shape all night long, regardless of your sleep position, for the best sleep of your life.
Call or go online to order My Pillow Premium, and Mike will give you a second pillow absolutely free. Use the promo code on your screen to get 2 My Pillows for the price of 1. Don't delay. Order now.
You're sleeping better.
Much better.
And you're looking good.
Feeling good.
I knew you would.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
If you or a loved one have had hernia repair surgery with mesh reinforcement and suffered infection, chronic pain, mesh migration, mesh failure, organ damage, or needed additional surgery, call the Rely On Group right now. You may be eligible to receive a cash award and compensation for your medical expenses. Your voice deserves to be heard. Call the Rely On Group to be connected with a personal injury attorney for a free consultation. Call 800-715-4869. That's 800-715-4869.
Are you currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain, If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back brace covered by Medicare at little to no cost, shipped directly to your home for free. These medical-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, arthritis, spinal disorders, and other chronic back problems. Will you qualify for a medical-grade back brace?
Call Back Brace America at 1-800-290-8300.
Check out BillyCBoxing.com now, or feel the wrath of the mighty mustache.
Oh, that hurts! Why are you doing that to my face? I hate you!
That's BillyCBoxing.com. Consider this your warning. Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're watching and listening to the Billy C. Show. Glad you could be with us. And I don't know, Sal. You know, I mean, the bottom line is I wish that the fights would just happen. And you know, there's no sense to marinate because after a big fight, another one will come up. And I don't know. You know, I mean, people are always talking, oh, we got to get boxing back, you know, and it's a shame because the truth of the matter is I do believe that today's fighters are more athletic and they're bigger, they're stronger, all those things. It's just they're weaker mentally. That's what it is. I mean, you know, you can slice it and hide it and sugarcoat it any way you want, but we as a society have become weak, and that's why other countries are exceeding us when it comes to these types of sports. I'm sorry. That to me, it's the truth.
Well, you have a foundation of thought there. I mean, you know, we've kind of cultivated a how can I say this and not say too much. I think you know, it started 25 years ago with the participation program or trophies, as you like to put, and like everyone's a winner. No one wants to hurt feelings, and you know there can't be the superstars because there can't be any losers. So you know it's hard. It's pure. It's bland. It's vanilla. And the bottom line is, even though vanilla is my favorite, it's not the breeding ground of what we used to have as far as fire in the gut to be the best. And you know that starts from an early age on, in your mindset, in your upbringing, in your tutelage from coaches. You know, I'm going to tell you, there's coaches I had in my school system, in my sports program, that would not be allowed to coach today because they were too, how can I say, hey, you either do it or you don't, and you get out and you sit on a bench. I mean, that's the mentality. But that's why we rose to the occasion. That's why we had to pull out our best from ourselves. And like I said, it's a mindset. It's a fight or flight syndrome. You're either gonna whimper in like a little wallflower and say ooh ooh ooh, or you're gonna say, hey, that's tough. I can do it. Let me have more. Let me chew it up, spit it out, and come back for more. I don't care. You know, there's not that many of those that look at life today on those two spectrums or those two levels. So that's why.
You're 100% right. And the thing is, you know, we don't want to have a winner or a loser. We start them kids off like that, and then you know you fast forward it to boxing anyway, and they feel they can't market a guy that has a loss, you know, and then you take it a step further. And you don't even give the guy a chance to learn from a loss. You know, the old saying, you learn from your mistakes. You know, a loss is a mistake. You know, what'd you do wrong? What could you go review the film? What could you do better? Here, this is why you lost. You didn't throw enough punches. You didn't dodge enough. You didn't do this. You didn't do that. Whatever the case is, you know, you don't get a chance to improve. You know, we're so afraid. You know, it's a joke. They're taught that nobody loses at a young age. And then if there's a loss, they don't know how to deal with it. So basically what we're doing is we're eliminating the teaching process of how to deal with failure. And failure is a part of life. It's a bad part of life. It's a sucky part of life, but it's part of life. You know, and if you can't learn with failure, if you can't learn how to deal with failure, or get back up on that horse. This is why everybody's got to go see a shrink now. Everybody's so weak, Hey, listen, let me tell you something. You're talking about coaches that wouldn't be around today. There's a lot of professional coaches that wouldn't be able to coach in today's world because of all the wimpy ass MFers that are out there. But check this out. Up here where I am in upstate New York, hockey's big, right? So Absolutely. A lot of the high school teams have hockey. A lot of the high schools have hockey teams, et cetera, et cetera. There was a team, and I forget what school, but locally, because it was on the local news last night, that the hockey team lost, okay? The hockey team lost, and the coach punished the team for losing. They made them, they didn't give them some kind of rights or whatever that they usually do. And do you know that the parents organized and went and protested and are threatening to pull all their kids from the team because the coach decided to have some kind of reprimand, so to speak, to lose, that you don't get rewarded for losing. And the parents, this is a high school level. This isn't 5 and 6 year olds where you can make an argument. This is a high school level. The parents don't even want their kids to suffer any kind of consequences for losing. So here we are bitching and moaning about boxers that don't want to lose their and you got parents that are fighting a high school because a hockey team lost and the kids lost some privileges. I don't get it, man.
It's sickening, it is, but that's the whole thing too. We had less participation from our parents versus they were supportive spectators and this and that, and they didn't interfere. They looked at their child's development or lack thereof and dealt with it and lived with it. And like I said, I look at all the sports that I excelled in, and if you couldn't make the grade, you were cut.
Right.
If you didn't do right, you were cut. It wasn't like, well, we'll have you sit on the bench with a uniform and we'll give you some play time because you deserve it and this and that. No, if you couldn't do it, you weren't on the team.
Exactly.
And that's the whole thing. You know what? What's the matter? That was the whole spirit we were raised in. You the best were the best. You got to be the best. We want to pick a baseball team. We want to do this. We want to be part of a football team. You know what? You got first string, second string, third string, and you have bench warmers. The bottom line is, when a football team wants to win a high school game, they're going to put the best players in the game.
Listen, all teams that are at least able to pick and choose should be able to pick and choose. But anyway, a couple of notes here I want to mention. A fight that I'm looking forward to, Ray Beltran, ranked at number 1 in the world by the WBO in the lightweight division, is finally going to get a shot at a world title because the vacant WBO lightweight title will feature Ray Beltran going up against Paulus Moses in Reno, Nevada on February 16th. I like this fight. And normally I would say, well, either of these names fighting a huge name isn't good. But when they fight each other, and then the guy that emerges, even though he's a champion, will get some opportunities against bigger names, I like it. Paulus Moses is the former world champion. Ray Beltran has fought some tough fights. This guy was a longtime sparring partner for Manny Pacquiao, and a lot of times you see two versions of him, but the last several versions of Raimundo Beltran has all been good. So congratulations to him and his team. This will be taking place in Reno on February 16th. Another thing I wanted to mention, remember the Contender Series, Sal?
Yes, I do.
It's returning.
Yes, I do.
It hasn't been on television for over 9 years, and it was announced the other day that it will be returning on Epic. 16 fighters are going to be divided into two teams, train and fight each other. The fighters have not been named, but I think that it's a good thing. And let me tell you why I think it's coming back. I think it's coming back because of the success of all these boxing tournaments. Make no mistake, Sal. we love, and I say we, boxing fans love the tournament series. And the reason I loved it, and the reason why I love it, and the reason why I hope other fans do, is because you have that I don't know who I'm going to fight factor. I just wish that all fighters had the balls to fight in a tournament. A lot of times you get the secondary and third-rary fighters fighting, to try to climb that ladder. But I like the tournament series, like we're going to be talking about a little bit later with the WBSS. I love it. What do you think?
Oh, I think it's great. I mean, there again, you go back. I used to love wrestling and wrestling tournaments. We'd spend the whole weekend for the state championship, for the regional championship, for the district championship, and that was a way that the cream rose to the top. And you wrestle 3 matches a day, or you do this, and same thing with boxing in the national AAUs or national Golden Gloves. It's exciting. You fight a couple fights a day. You're eliminating this, that, and everything else, and you find out who's the best. And no, I love a tournament series. I think it's great. And you're the luck of the draw. You're going to fight whoever you got to fight. There's no ifs, ands, and buts. I think it'd be a great series. Hey, wasn't that series on TV, The Contender, wasn't that originally a joint venture between Sylvester Stallone and Sugar Ray Leonard, I think?
Yeah, the very first one was.
Yeah.
The very first one was. And it was successful, and then it went off. Then there was some different variations, and we'll see what happens. But hold that thought. We're going to take a short break. When I come back, I got a couple of the quick news reports. Then we got some emails to read. Then we're going to break down, give you our predictions on, I think, the biggest and most significant fight this weekend, the Cruiserweight unification fight, part of the World Boxing Super Series. So don't go nowhere.
Billy C will be right back.
Relief from backaches and stiffness in your hips or down your legs? Then you need Dr. Ho's Back Relief Belt, the innovative technology used to support and decompress your spine. And now it's covered by Medicare.
Every patient with back pain should be wearing this belt.
Nothing gave me instant relief except for the Dr. Ho belt.
Feel good while standing, walking, driving, doing housework, and while laying down. And now Dr. Ho's patented belt is available at our best price ever. It's even covered by Medicare. Order now and get the easy-to-use hand pump and back rehabilitation DVD free.
Similar belts can cost you almost $1,000, but my belts won't cost you $500, not $300, not even $200. I will give you my special TV price.
And remember, Dr. Ho's belt is covered by Medicare.
If you know a friend or family member that suffers with pain, get them my system today. Help them live with less pain, be more active, and get back to doing the things they love. Give them the gift of health.
This is important news for women using birth control medications and devices. If you or a loved one have been diagnosed with a pseudotumor after using one of these birth control drugs or devices, you may be eligible for a cash award and medical expenses. Contact the law firm of Davis & Crump right now if you or a loved one have used one of these birth control medications or devices and were diagnosed with a pseudotumor to see if you are eligible for a cash award and medical expenses. Call now. Operators are standing by.
Hologram USA presents a proposal to all investors. Hologram USA is an innovative 3-dimensional patented technology that shifted the paradigm in media technology. Our patented hologram technology that brought you Tupac and Coachella, Whitney Houston, Billie Holiday, and many more is integrating live performances to bring your favorite past and present entertainers beyond your imagination. Invest in the patented technology before the banks scoop up all the stock. Invest in Hologram USA today. Hologram USA Flagship Theater, located on Hollywood Boulevard's Walk of Fame, is the first of many to come. Call now to be part of the explosive growth. Pick up the phone. Dial the number on your screen now. Invest in Hologram USA today. Call the number on your screen right now to learn about this investment opportunity.
Call 800-624-1673. 800-624-1673.
Are you currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back brace covered by Medicare at little to no cost, shipped directly to your home for free. These medical-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, arthritis, spinal disorders, and other chronic back problems. Will you qualify for a medical-grade back brace?
Call Back Brace America at 1-800-290-8300.
Now back to Talkin' Boxing with Billy C., the only radio host man enough to take a punch from Mike Tyson.
Wait a minute, man. Hold on there. Jeremy, man, I need you to take this one, all right?
Wait, what? No way. I can't do this.
Need I remind you I'm Billy C., damn it? Now put on that mustache and get in there.
Hey, look at me. I'm Billy C. Crap.
Undisputed heavyweight champion of Boxing Talk Radio. It's Talkin' Boxing with Billy C.
Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're watching and listening to the Billy C. Show. Glad you could be with us today. And just as we kicked off the show, I just wanted to make an announcement that we have been added to another radio affiliate. And if you guys want to check it out, WSMN1590.com. It's out of Nashua, New Hampshire. You can listen to it on the dial if you're in the Nashua, New Hampshire area on 1590 AM, WSMN 1590. So check it out and reach out to my man George and tell him you can't wait for the Billy C. Show. Even if you're not in the listening area, just reach out to him. WSMN. That's WS as in Sam, M as in Mama, N as in Nancy, 1590.com. That's like an insurance agent, you know, Sal. When you talk to insurance, that VIN number is A as in Apple, B as in boy, X as in whatever. You know, it's like, oh my God. But
forget about it.
Anyway, Frank Warren announced that. There's the sign sealed and delivered for the IBF World Featherweight Championship between the champ right now, Lee Selby, who's 26-1 with 9 knockouts, and the IBF mandatory undefeated challenger, Josh Warrington, who's 26-0, is taking place on Saturday, May 19th. So another good one there. And another thing I want to mention before we get into the emails. Now, the WBA, in my opinion, is the biggest joke of all the sanctioning bodies. I mean, and I'm saying of all, meaning the top 5. And I call the top 5 the WBC, the IBO, the IBF, the WBO, and the WBA. Those are the 5. I put the IBO in there, and the reason why I put the IBO in there, and I say this all the time, is because if you look at their rankings, they are the most legitimate rankings. Their guys, their champions, are not necessarily ranked the highest. So therefore, whether they have a champion wearing their belt or not, at least their rankings show who the best fighters are. And I have to respect them for that. But the WBA had this big thing going on between Manuel Char and Frez Oquendo. Now, if you remember, Frez Oquendo, he hasn't fought in 3 years, but yet he's the WBA's mandatory title challenger for the WBA regular world heavyweight title because the super title belongs to Anthony Joshua. But the regular title holder, it was vacated. And what had happened was Manuel Char got a special okay to fight Alexander Ustinov. And, that fight happened, and Char won, and now he has to fight Oquendo, and they're arguing about the purse, and it was all written and everything else. So apparently this fight is going to take place now. Manuel Char going up against Frez Oquendo for that regular full title right now. Char has the interim title, of course. And I would think that you're going to hear about a purse bid because Team Char did not want it to be a 50-50 split. And Fresequendo has been tossed several just be patient money over the last 3 years. I mean, it's evident the guy hasn't stepped in a ring. I just want to know, so how the hell can you justify or even approve of a world title fight with a guy who hasn't fought in 3 years?
Bill, I wish I was fighting today. It's amazing. I can't believe how low the benchmark has been for some of these agencies, some of these sanctioning bodies, I should say. It's just amazing. They just want to do what they got to do for the sake of doing something. And giving a guy who has been out of the ring for 3 years a shot at the championship or something, first bout out. Well, no wonder you got Tyson Fury claiming he wants to fight for the title. He hasn't been even out that long, so it's not right. It's definitely not right.
Hey, listen.
In my opinion, my humble opinion,
Tyson Fury not only wants to fight Anthony Joshua, he wants a bigger cut of the purse. Says he's the real champion. You know, Tyson Fury, and I got to admit, I was a huge Tyson Fury fan.
I know you were,
and you know, it's embarrassing. He's embarrassing to the sport, and I'm just glad I'm just glad that the powers that be over in England aren't going to give him a fast track, because that actually ruins the credibility. I mean, the Anthony Joshua Joseph Parker fight is a legitimate fight. Two young heavyweights. Over here in the States, we got Deontay Wilder fighting Luis Ortiz. Despite Luis Ortiz being 75 years old, I still think it's going to be the toughest fight that Deontay Wilder has been in. So hopefully the two winners will face each other next. So
we hope. That's only what we can do.
Yeah, and then maybe Tyson Fury after that.
Tyson Fury should be on the undercard of these fights or something like that. Definitely on the undercard when there's a Joshua Deontay Wilder fight. Tyson Fury should be the co-feature. Should be on the undercard.
But that's a problem. Tyson Fury thinks he's the main event. Like, he thinks he's the draw. He thinks, and the thing is that I'll tell you right now, by him saying that he wants, the A billing, he wants more money, et cetera, just shows to me that he's doing it for the money. That's it.
That's true, and also that he lives in Fantasyland.
Oh, that too. Let's get some emails out the way. This one's from Jesse. And by the way, I have the other ones from yesterday we're going to read, which I don't really have them in any particular order. So this first one's from Jesse. I always read Jesse's first. I don't know why. I always have. He says, "Hey, Billy C and Sal." You know why? Because Jesse interacts with us
he
often.
Does. He's in the chat room,
and,
too.
I don't think he's in the chat room. He just interacts through email. He's called a couple of times, but
yes, he has.
Anyway, Jesse said, I think he has. Jesse says, just a quick point, Billy C and Sal. I agree with you. Well, what I'm about to say, which he agrees with me. Sal has always taken the high road. So before I go anywhere else with this sentence, just relax, Sal. Sal has never stated some of the things that I have regarding this topic. He says, "Hey, Billy C and Sal, just a quick point. I agree with you," and I'm just going to put my name in there, Billy C, about the cops. They are arrogant, show-offs, trash talkers, and hypocrites. I've seen many cops drive past stop signs, through red lights, pass me in a no-passing lane, driving over the speed limit, talking on their cell phones, etc., etc., and they can feel that they can do anything and make up excuses to shoot you, like the video you mentioned. They're a bunch of hypocrites. I just want to say this. Well, I do want to say I've seen many cops talking on their cell phones while they're driving, okay? But anyway, and I have seen cops go through lights and stuff without their lights on. But not all of them shoot you for no reason. There have been, it's not funny, but there have been some that have, and that's what brings down all the other cops. But they're not going to shoot you for no reason. Hey, Robbie Anderson, the Jets receiver, got arrested in Florida for doing something, and he said he was feared for his life. Then it comes out that he was threatening to, F the cop's wife and do all this stuff. And it's like, well, you can't get, listen, I don't believe that cops should just pull out their gun and throw a slug in you. But on the other hand, I do believe that you have to show respect to police. I don't feel that you are able to spit in their face and have no repercussions. So I want to make that clear. What I don't like is when a cop takes advantage of a situation because he or she is a cop. But that does not give people the right to, cross the line. And I think that's a big issue, Sal. Where I've seen these riots where, people are in the police's face and they're throwing stuff at them. They're doing this, they're doing that. And all of a sudden the cop will retaliate. And then everyone's, they did it because I'm black. They did it because I'm black. No, they didn't do it because you're black. They did it because you threw a thing of water in their face. Or you did it because you did, and that's the problem. You got to show a cop respect. If you don't, and they do something, you can't blame them. If you are showing respect and they do something, in my opinion, you can blame them. Do you want to comment or not?
All I could say is this. I thank God that I have, and I'm sorry, I've never had a run-in with any police officers or anybody on that level. And like I said, I have many friends and relatives that are police officers. And I love our men and women in blue. I support our men and women in blue. And yes, are there a few bad apples? I'm sure. I am sure of that. I haven't had an experience to have any dealings with those types. But I'm telling you this, the majority of our men and women, our police officers, they are there for our protection. They are there for our support. They were there for all the good reasons that you would want to believe that police officers represent and stand for, to keep order in a chaotic society. And believe it or not, guys, there's not all, every road down that pathway is not all laid with golden bricks. And it's a rough ride. And you know what? When you look at and I'm giving the devil's advocate, the other side of the coin. When you look at all the wild cards out there today, where a police officer puts his life on the line for simply stopping a motor vehicleist and going over to the window to ask for ID or so, and then may have to be received with bullets or something. It's a chaotic society, and there has to be some order. And I think the men and women in blue do the very best job they can. And yes, there are some bad apples. But the bottom line is the majority and the men and women, what they stand for, when they put on that uniform and leave their household every day and hope to come back home to their loved ones, they're regular people that do rise to the super status of trying to keep law and order in a chaotic society. So they have my support 100%, Billy C. That's it.
Right. I mean, listen, I've been very vocal about the ones that cross the line. But like you said, not all of them do. It's unfortunate that the ones that do get so much publicity, and they really make it tough for the guys trying to do the right thing. I have family members that are in the that are police officers. One specifically left.
I had a whole family last night of police officers visit the restaurant from New York. Some active, some retired for 30 years. And I couldn't praise these guys enough. 30 years. He did on the. I mean, these guys are career. You come away unscathed in a city like New York after a long career. You're pretty damn good. And you try and cross the T's and dot the I's where you can. And let me tell you something. It's not all fun and games for these guys. They've got to document. They've got to write a history book. If they decide to pull a vehicle over, or if they forget about it, they ever draw their weapon, they got to document everything and anything. They got to be accountable. So, like I said, Bill, there might be a few bad eggs in any industry, any sector, any kind of career. But the majority of what they stand for and what they do to try and protect and help society, my hat's off to them, and I'll pat on the back, and I'll buy anybody a meal or anybody a drink that wears a uniform every day and puts their life on the line. Thank you very much.
Well, I tell you right now, that video that Jesse's referring to,
I didn't see it, by the way.
Well, you should, because it'll change your opinion about the bad apples, because it's not just a bad apple. This guy was an assassin. He shot that guy in the hallway of that hotel. It was sickening to watch, and it definitely puts a blemish on all the good cops, and I can't stand it. I can't stand. I don't even want to get into it. I can't stand when cops are walking around thinking who the hell they are. To me, we talked about this once before. When I was a kid, you were taught if you're in trouble, run up to a cop. They'll help you. I'm not so sure today. I'm really not. They're dressed in riot gear. They might zap you with a stun gun. They might spray you with some mace.
Okay,
they might,
the other side of the coin here.
I mean, come on.
Why do you think they're dressed in riot gear? Because they've been targets. They've got to be protected. They don't just, hey, I'm going to get out there. No, because guess what? They have been targets. They've been susceptible and vulnerable to a brick thrown at them or something else. You don't know. Yeah, I'm telling you. Think about this. The average police officer, he gets up every day. He puts his uniform on. He kisses his wife or family or girlfriend or anybody, and he says goodbye to somebody. Or he lives alone, whatever he does. And he's going to do the best job he can, and he hopes to return home that night unscathed and undaunted and maybe helping a few people out there. I got to believe in my heart of hearts, unless I'm living in fairy tale land, that a lot of these guys, that's their incentive of the day, and that's what they can only hope for, that they can enhance and they can do some good in society to help people. And I mean, come on. They're like superheroes or there are those. That's the incentive. What would somebody want to be a cop for unless he wants to do good for society? Think about it.
I don't
it's
know.
Like, who would want to put on a pair of boxing gloves unless they want to be a world champion?
Well, that's even I don't know about that, but I will agree. Most cops, when they get ready to go to work, they say goodbye to their wife, they kiss, and then they kiss their girlfriend goodbye. I mean, they usually have at least one wife and a couple of girlfriends. I mean,
oh, man.
It's
you
the
see,
cop.
Bill, you tainted the whole damn thing. Let's talk about boxing. Yeah. Thank you very much.
All right. Jesse says, hey, Billy. He says, yes, I keep seeing
license plate number?
He says, Billy, I keep seeing videos on boxing saying they don't watch boxing. Guys like Mikey Garcia, Omar Figueroa, Robert Garcia said his favorite sport's soccer, and he really didn't like being a boxer when he boxed. My favorite sport is baseball, but second would be boxing, and then MMA, then all the others like NFL, NBA, track, etc. I used to follow NFL and NBA more than boxing, but now that has changed to boxing and MMA. The NFL has pissed off a lot of people. And, I want to say this, and I know today's show is like, we're talking about everything but boxing, so I'm not going to take any more breaks. But here's the thing. Remember the XFL, the WWF guy, WWE guy, Vince McMahon, formed the Football League, I guess it's almost been 10 years ago, maybe more, closer to 20, of XFL. And it was kind of crazy, They had a scrum to see who gets the ball first. They used you could put anything you want on your jersey. The most famous guy had on the back of his jersey, "He hate me." Anyway, it was supposed to be a fun version of football, and it didn't succeed. And the reason it didn't succeed is because people that were into football said, "What the hell is this? This is a joke, right?" Well, fast forward 20 years, almost 20 years. Because he's going to kick it off in 2020. And you look at the NFL, and they've adopted some of the things that the XFL did, like, celebrations and all of this stuff, right? Well, I believe, and I'm going to make a prediction right now, that the XFL this time around is going to succeed. And the reason why it's going to succeed is because people that will watch it will expect to see the type of things that the NFL has switched to that most true NFL fans despise. And you are going to see this version of the XFL do well. That's all I'm saying.
Is that like arena football or something?
No. It was played on a regular field. They just did some crazy stuff. The cheerleaders were real sexy. They played with a black.
Like Harlem Globetrotters?
No. The rules were similar, but but different.
Hey, you know what? Hey, you know what'll win me? And I'm going to say it. I'm not afraid to say it. If I see a pre-game prayer or standing up for saluting our flag and pledge allegiance or our Star-Spangled Banner, that'll win me right over. Thank you very much.
Well, that's what the NFL used to do. I wouldn't expect to see that in the XFL. But anyway, we got to get these emails out of the way. Jesse says, my picks this week, Linares over Gesta, Lucas in a split decision over Tua, Usyk unanimous decision over Briedis. Can you break down these fights? Yes, I will break them out in a little bit. He says also, I loved your Magic Machine yesterday. Can you do a dream match between Iran Barkley and Roy Jones and Eric Morales against Prince Ahmed? Yes, I put them on the list. So you guys can look forward to that next month when we do it. We are going to increase that, but right now we're doing it once a month. Thanks for the email, Jesse. This next one is from Willie, who's in the chat room. And by the way, if you're watching or listening on a stream or the radio or television, whatever, our official chat room is up on BillyCBoxing.com. I do comment, sometimes on Facebook Live. Like I want to give a shout out to my man Michael Corleone, who we're going to be doing an event at his gym.
Michael Corleone.
And, yeah, we're going to be doing an event at his gym. I got to get with you, Mikey, about that. He's got a gym down in the city in Manhattan, and we're going to be doing something, Sal. So I'll keep you posted, and I promise that I'll reach out to him after the holidays. I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to that big time. My man Willie says, "Hey Billy C. First off, hope you're feeling better." And please let there be another show tomorrow. Willie, I'm feeling better. And, the funny thing is Willie kept sending me emails. You're ruining it. I can't go. I can't, like I was saying to you. I called Sal. I'm going, I love when these guys, can't, they make it seem like they need the show. Let's see, I have my coffee in the morning and the Billy C show. Otherwise, I can't start my day, but.
That's funny. That's what I do. I have my coffee in the morning.
I know. You have it during it. I know.
It's a good routine. I love it, Bill.
Yeah, unfortunately, I got to get up at 4. I got to get up. I'm already coffeeed out by the time I'm done writing the show. But anyway, he says, following a previous email I sent a while ago regarding David Price against Alexander Povetkin, it's a go. They've agreed to fight. The fight's on. So what I see here is Eddie Hearn maneuvering his chess pieces into place as he starts his campaign to gain control of the entire board, with Price being one of the pawns in the game and being ruthlessly sacrificed and sent to slaughter by the obliging Povetkin, who I suppose is a knight or maybe even a bishop in Eddie's army. All of the chess analogies from my man Willie. He says, I wonder if Price even realizes that he's a sacrificial pawn in a far broader and grander game plan that is being set up by the Grand Master himself, Eddie Hearn, as he strives for a complete domination over the entire boxing world. I still think that Povetkin is being lined up for a shot at Anthony Joshua at some future point. What are your and Sal's thoughts? Alexander Povetkin is a good fighter. I would have much rather have seen him fought Deontay Wilder, when they had that chance. But Povetkin's not the same fighter anymore. The last, listen, he fought that guy with the broken neck. Remember the guy had the broken neck for? Can you remember? He fought. The guy lasted for 12 rounds. He could. They were giving him.
Tilted to avoid the punches.
They were practically giving him surgery in the corner. I never saw a fight. I never saw a fight get delayed so much, where they were working on a fighter and then said, okay, continue. I was like, what do you mean continue? I mean, how could you continue after 7 minutes? Only in Russia. But, anyway, he's not the same fighter. Whatever. He says, he says also looking forward, I think Eddie Hearn is going to set up Joshua versus Fury to happen before a Joshua versus Wilder fight. It makes sense because if AJ were to lose, if AJ were to fight Wilder first, he can lose. I know that it's not likely, but he could. It's still risky. And let's face it, Wilder is a dangerous fighter, and if that happens, it would make any future bout between Joshua and Fury a lot less interesting, as there won't be all the belts on the line, and it wouldn't be that big of a money fight, then would it? Just follow the money. He says, imagine if Wilder does win all the belts off of Joshua, would have to hope that he doesn't run off into distance with them and only fight bums for the next 5 or 10 years just so he can hang on them for as long as possible. What's your guys' thoughts? First of all, my thought is that true. I don't think that Tyson Fury deserves a shot at Joshua right now. But also, if Deontay Wilder were to beat Anthony Joshua, there would be a rematch first. I mean, that's first and foremost, unless Deontay Wilder retired, because the rematch clause would be in AJ's hands. But as far as Tyson Fury, I think there's always going to be value there, at least domestically in England. But don't count on Deontay Wilder beating Anthony Joshua. I mean, just don't count on it. Deontay Wilder has not fought anybody of the caliber of Anthony Joshua, and Anthony Joshua has fought way better opposition than Deontay has, and that's the facts. And you can only get better if you fight better opposition. All you got to look at Robert Easter. He's a perfect example from this past Saturday. What do you think, Sal?
Well, my thoughts. Styles make fights, and that's why I often say Billy here on the show is that styles make fights, and one style may not beat one fighter, but he could fight the guy that beat that guy and win. It just is amazing how styles make fights. And yes, maybe Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder have faced different levels of opponents, but I could be assured that Anthony Joshua never fought someone quite as unorthodox as Deontay Wilder. And I could also assume that maybe Deontay Wilder has not fought somebody with the punching power and the stoic, basic, looming doom like an Anthony Joshua. So that's why this fight is going to be a great fight. But I can tell you this, Billy C., as I often have said, I cannot say it's going to be a walkover or layover for Anthony Joshua to beat Deontay Wilder. I think Deontay Wilder is a very dangerous fighter for Anthony Joshua, because I think with his unorthodox, wild style, and whoever emailed the depiction of Deontay Wilder, yes, fighting like a drunken octopus, that's a very dangerous fighter, because he flails and he throws bombs that come out of anywhere, Scud missiles, if you will. So, like I said, it's going to be a great fight. Those individual styles will come together and clash, and I think it's going to be a matter of will. I think it's going to be a matter of perseverance. I think it's going to be a war.
Listen,
that's my opinion.
I know, and we're going to have definitely be betting on that fight when it happens. And
you and I are going to be betting.
It's going to be.
I love Anthony Joshua. I'm supportive. Anthony Joshua.
Stop with your BS.
Great human being.
Listen, the other thing is I get your point about an unorthodox fighter landing a lucky punch, but more often than not, the more finely tuned fighter is the guy who has the edge, because a wild fighter is susceptible to a guy that can fight. And here's a great examples of that as wild, crazy fighters fighting, really fine-tuned boxers very rarely come out on top unless they land that lucky punch like you suggest. And I just think that's going to be hard for a guy that's. Listen, I don't even want to talk about the fight anymore, because there's two big fights before that they both have to get past.
That's true.
And,
that's true.
And we'll see what happens, because even though Luis Ortiz is 79 years old, he's still going to give Deontay Wilder a big test, unless they've already decided that Luis Ortiz is getting a big sack of money to go back to wherever he wants to go to, and he's going to lay down. Because I just that's what I believe about Deontay Wilder. That fighters have laid down for him. I really do. I really do.
I don't share that, and I think Luis Ortiz is going to be a punching bag for Deontay Wilder to tee off on. That's what I feel.
Well, the thing is I've seen Luis Ortiz fight And I've seen him at his best live, and I've seen him at his worst live. And his best was pretty damn good. But he's not. I mean, he's there. He's going to be there for Deontay to hit. The question is, can he land a punch on Deontay? If he does, Deontay's in trouble. That's it. That's all I'm saying. Another
Case
email.
in point. Good job.
Yeah, no. Hey,
No, I believe you.
Hey,
No,
thanks.
sure.
Thanks for that. My man, Coach says, hey, Billy C., after years of Mayweather's souring influence and consequence on the sport of boxing, I think the biggest question in boxing today is, will the gods change the current WWE entertainment culture of carefully choosing and picking familiar named opponents to protect their almighty zero and return the sport of boxing back to a day when the best fought the best? Any chance they skip the torturous and most times unnecessary marination of top fights and actually just get out of the Errol Spence's way and let him fight Thurman and Crawford? What's your thoughts? We talked about this a little bit yesterday. Obviously, the IBF has shown us that they're not willing to do that. I've said this many times, Sal. Boxing, the beauty of the sport is that when the big fight that everybody wants is over, there's another one that takes its place. It's like a Pez dispenser. You get that candy out, like and then another one's right there. Boom! Oh, it's magic! I got another one right there. That's the way boxing is. The truth of the matter is that boxing needs the big fights. It does not need the marination. Bob Arum, who liked to marinate fights, ruined it by setting that table, so to speak, and creating the copycats. Floyd Mayweather, as far as his success route worked for him, but now look at all the fighters copying it. Canelo Alvarez is a great example. Of trying to marinate a fight. The people who suffer are the fans. And I just don't see boxing fans continuing to suffer year after year, and stay with the sport. I don't see it lasting. It's not, I'm not saying the sport's not going to last. I'm just saying that it's never going to get back to the popularity that it was once that it once was. And the reason is because you're not creating lifelong fans with the kind of bullshit that they shove down our throats. What do you think?
I think that you make a good case in point. I mean, growing up when I was just a little kid, man, I'll tell you, there was not only fighters with a aura behind them, like growing up, and there was Muhammad Ali, and then right there was Joe Frazier, and then there was a middleweight champ. There was Carlos Monzon. There was Danny Little Red Lopez. There were fighters that brought excitement, and like I said, most fans could identify and attach them to a fighter. And these fighters were active, and these fighters put it on the line, and you got in this fighter's corner, and you rooted for them, and you were there in the ring with them, and they were more active. They didn't fight once or twice a year. They were fighting every couple of months, and it was something to see. They had a natural progression in their path, what to be champion, or their natural progression of defending their title against top opposition. It was just more of a identifiable game that brought people together at a common ground because there was something in the sport of boxing that attracted a lot of masses. That's all. That's gone.
Yeah. Another email. This one is from the subject says new listener, and it's from Luke. He says, "Hey Billy C, I just wanted to say that I'm loving the show. I've only come across your show on my feed, and now I'm hooked." The funny thing is,
like a left hook.
I'm the funny thing is that
I'm glad to hear that.
Any people that most of the time I hear people say they start listening to this show and they become hooked. So I get criticisms mostly from the YouTubers. You only got this many subscribers and this and that. And it kind of makes me feel like the fighters that he's good because he's undefeated, and you're looking at all these guys and you're saying, Yeah, well, he didn't fight anybody. I will say this: at least our subscriber base on YouTube, which is the smallest quantity of our listener and viewer base, at least our subscribers on YouTube never miss a show. All right, and our hits. When you look at the hits on YouTube, it's set. We have we're a YouTube partner, so we set it so the view is for 59 minutes or more. So when you see a view, if you see a show that has 300 views, that's 300 people that have watched it for an hour. They've stayed with the show for an hour or more.
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
I really wonder how many other ones can say that. But anyway.
Wow, that's very nice.
He says, I'm watching on my feed now. I'm hooked. I've been listening to your show for the past few weeks, and it's so nice to find a group of people really in tune with my way of thinking when it comes to the current scene of boxing. Oh, this is interesting. He says, I'm 30 years old, and for 22 of those years, I've been a boxing fan. It was Muhammad Ali that got me obsessed with the sport and all the great past that has kept me interested. There was a bit of dip in the early 2000s, but it was then Ricky Hatton who brought me back to the sport. The last episode, you guys said something really stuck with me when you were talking about Floyd Mayweather and how you become an all-time great. I must say I can't agree anymore. While as I freely admit, since he fought Hatton, I've watched pretty much all of his fights, but not one of them stick out as a great fight. I feel that he has left two very big scars on the sport of boxing. The first being that you can get bigger than the sport. He somehow has managed to convince the fans and the public alike that he's bigger than the sport of boxing. As you have said yourself, used the phrase, I have beaten everyone I put in front of me. That's actually a phrase I copied from Coach, and I love it. Floyd Mayweather, he has beaten everyone. Floyd Mayweather, I've beaten everybody I put in front of myself. Yeah, of course you have.
That's funny.
And he says, secondly, the obsession with the undefeated streak. Too often have I heard after an undefeated fighter has been beaten, where does he go from here? What does he do now? What's next? I feel that this is certainly leads certain fighters picking and choosing their opponents as opposed to just fighting. I know this can't entirely be blamed on Floyd Mayweather, but I feel that he's the poster child for a lot of boxers nowadays that are trying to emulate him, and he's not someone you should be trying to emulate. As far as I'm concerned, in 10 or 15 years, he's going to be forgotten, but we'll still be talking about the Roberto Durans, the Alis, etc. And he says, I also genuinely believe we'll still be talking about Miguel Cotto. And before I go on, I just want to say I agree with Luke, because those fighters that he mentioned were in exciting fights. Floyd Mayweather was never, at least early in his career he was an exciting fighter. But the latter part, he was not in exciting fights. Now, the reason why fighters emulate Floyd is because he's been so successfully financially, and that's the truth. I mean, nobody's going to emulate, him for being an uneventful, an unexciting fighter. But they do want to try to emulate his ability to not get hit. Unfortunately, he runs like a scared little bitch, but that's besides the point. I'd much rather see fighters like Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford who engage and are right in front of you and you can't hit them. Vasily Lomachenko is a great example of the sweet science. A fighter that's two inches away from you and you can't hit the guy and he's pounding the hell out of you. And that's the definition of the sweet science. If you run to the other corner of the ring and your opponent can't hit you, that's great. But guess what? You're not hitting him either. And that's the whole issue that a lot of these young, ignorant fans, specifically the YouTuber fans, don't understand. Anyway, he says, despite the popularity here in the UK where I live. See, you know what, Sal? We
Right.
should be doing this show in the UK. I wish somebody in the UK, somebody reach out to Eddie Hearn and tell him to put Sal and me on the payroll, and we will come out there and do our show from England. That's where we belong. I'm sorry. Bunce has nothing on us. I'm sorry. He doesn't. So, I mean, come on. But anyway, he says... anyway, where I live, I don't get to speak with many longtime boxing fans, so needless to say, when I hear people talking about Floyd being the best of all time, something inside of me cracks and dies. I do love the coverage that the sport's getting today, especially now in the UK. We have 3, sometimes 4 channels which will show it. One thing that does surprise me, though, is the almost regression that a lot of fighters are showing today. A lot of fighters have never been as strong or as healthy as they are today, yet they're so unactive. The buzz in this country recently has been about the return of Amir Khan, but this is a guy who has barely fought in the last 5 years, let alone 2 years, and another wannabe Floyd who has parked about how great he's been, yet he's frankly achieved so little. The coverage he gets makes me laugh, considering Juan Manuel Marquez took a fight a few weeks before the last Pacquiao fight and was labeled a bum by the press. I couldn't believe it. A fighter staying active and people were lambasting him. Pure madness. Anyway, you guys put on a great show. I can't stop listening. All the best, and I wish nothing but great things for you. I look forward to seeing what the new year brings for all of us. Luke Thunder Breslin. Luke, we appreciate the email.
Much.
And I tell you, it's enlightening, Sal, to hear a young boxing fan like Luke, 30 years old, who's into the sport and is doing what I believe all young fight fans should do. Learn a little about the history of the fight game and then move forward. You can't go by what you see and hear today. A lot of the stuff is like that show Catfish. I'm talking to this gorgeous chick. She's loving me. I want to go meet her. And it turns out to be a guy or some not so attractive hot chick.
My staff makes a lot of good reference because I've been catfished once or twice on online dating. I can't even go there right now.
I tell you, it happens. It happens.
It happens. Forget about it.
I've always said, and we're on our 15th year now with this show, and we've always had a pretty big presence in the UK, and I really feel that we would do well out there with all of our UK viewers and listeners. Come on, somebody's got to know somebody. Have them reach out to me. We would love to come over, even if it was just a temporary thing for a week. I'd love to broadcast. I would love to broadcast out of London. I really would, or any place in England, But anyway, I'd give everybody a free copy of my book. How about that? Ooh, maybe.
Oh, hey.
That ain't making me no money. But anyway, thanks, Luke. We appreciate it.
Hey, you know what? You got to bring your book to the next CPOM's event, man. You got to autograph it to people. There you go.
Are you telling me you didn't get a copy? I know I gave you a copy.
No, I got a copy. You signed it. It's beautiful. I love it.
Did you ever read it?
From
Did you ever open
start
it?
to finish.
It's keeping that table level, isn't it? Because of that one leg. Okay. Oh, there it is. There it is. I see. Is that the championship belt I awarded you at one of the events we did?
That's my CPOM championship belt. That's it. That's the title.
Oh, God. All right, let me get this one more email out of the way, and then we got to break down this fight, man. We're running out of time. This one's from my man Matt. Matt from Buffalo. He says, hey, Billy C., I just wanted to advise you and the fans of some details about 2 events that's happening this weekend. First, the WBSS event in the lack of a U.S. television deal should be on WorldBoxingSuperSeries.com beginning Saturday at 3:30 p.m. Prior to the audience signing, I used the website and link with great results. Yeah, Audience TV. I'm wondering, somebody said something about that. I don't know if I have Audience TV. But anyway, he says, I used the website and link with great results. The stream is legal and it's live. Please note, however, this is only for fans in the United States. You simply go to the website and the stream should be on the main page. Secondly, this Sunday in Buffalo, New York at the River Works, is the Upstate New York opening round of the Golden Gloves tournament. All of Upstate will be represented, and I'll be ringside to enjoy the action. It's a great venue and part of the upstate New York resurgence. I invite any Billy C. fans that can make the event. In any case, all fans should support amateur boxing across the nation. I agree with that. And give those guys my best, Matt, because I have worked with Bob and some of the other guys involved with the Upstate Amateur Series, with the amateur fighters. We've crossed paths. They've always said that they were going to try to get me to go up there, never have fulfilled it. Also, the Buffalo Hall of Fame, those guys. Oh, God, I apologize. I forget my man's name. Forget his first name, but his last name is Green. So, Mr. Green, I wish that we could get something going there. He says, by the way, Sal, since you get my movie quotes all the time, name this one. Sal knows this one. I'll tell you right now. He says he wants you to name this movie, Sal. A man's got to know his limitations.
A man's got to know his limitations. That's Clint Eastwood.
Of course it's Clint Eastwood.
In one of the Dirty Harry series.
That's right. That's right.
That's right.
Matt,
I love that quote.
No, I know. You've used it. That's why I laughed. Great email, and appreciate it, Matt.
Email. Thank you, buddy.
And enjoy your enjoy the amateur events up in Buffalo this weekend. All right. Speaking of this weekend, we got a big fight with the World Boxing Super Series. There are also Jorge Linares against Mercito Gesta on HBO. So we'll be talking about that on Monday. But the fight that I really am looking forward to is the unification for the World Boxing Super Series. And that, boys and girls, puts Aleksandr Usyk against Mairis Briedis for the unification of the WBO and WBC World Cruiserweight titles. It is the next leg of this tournament, which has been nothing less than a success. When I take a look at these two guys, the first and foremost, I'll give you their final press conference quotes. He says, Aleksandr Usyk says, Briedis is a good fighter, but the only thing he has is what I want, and that's his belt. I'm looking forward to fighting in Lativa. It's going to be a great event. I am sure there will be a lot of people coming from the Ukraine to support me. People can look forward to an entertaining fight between two world champions, both of us eager to qualify for the final and win the Muhammad Ali Trophy. This is one of the reasons I love this tournament. It has put a lot of fighters with titles in there, not knowing who they're going to fight next, and they've all jumped at the opportunity. No U.S. fighters, by the way. No U.S. fighters. We had the one guy that was taken out.
Disappointing.
Yeah, and this was so sad that the United States was not able to make a stand and show that they're not a bunch of pussies like I say they are when it comes to fighting the fights just to prove that they're the best. They'll fight the fight for the money, but they won't fight to prove that they're the best. They'd rather fight the cab driver than a real fighter. These guys are both champions, both badasses. I'm going to get to it in a second. Mairis Briedis says, it was one of my dreams as a fighter to be part of one of the greatest fights of all time. I hope this fight will be a Hall of Fame fight. It has all the ingredients to become a classic. Usyk was excellent as an amateur, and he has been great as a professional. It's going to be a tough challenge, but I believe that I have what it takes to beat him. Both these guys are recognizing that they're in tough fights. Both these guys are looking forward to the challenge, and both these guys are challenging themselves. What makes a better fight than that, Sal? I mean, geez, when you got two fighters that are both champions, both challenging themselves, both going at it. Jeez, I feel like Vince McMahon. Jesus, Mean Gene. But I tell you, I can't give these guys enough credit. But in any event, Aleksandr Usyk, he's the WBO Cruiserweight champion. He's 31 years old. He's ranked by the computer at numero uno. He's 6'3", southpaw. His record, 13 wins, no losses, 11 of his wins coming by knockout. His last 4 fights were against all good opposition. Beginning with September of 2016, he fought Krzysztof Glowacki and won a 12-round decision. That was actually the first time he went the distance. And that's when he picked up the WBO cruiserweight title. His next fight, Fabrizio Machunu, another good fighter, knocked him out in 9. He also went the distance in his next fight in April of last year against Michael Hunter, a very highly touted United States prospect. And Michael Hunter fared very well against Usyk, going the distance, but Usyk won the fight. In his last fight, he beat who I had thought was one of the best cruiserweights in the last several years, maybe even the last decade, in Marco Captain Huck. He knocked out Captain Huck in the 10th round. Captain Huck also challenged for a world heavyweight title. Usyk, last 4 fights, all against good opposition. Now he goes up against Mairis Briedis, who's the WBC World Cruiserweight Champion. He's ranked at number 2 in the world. Sal, how much better can you get when you're fighting in a tournament? You're fighting a unification, and you got the computer ranked number 1 fighting against the computer ranked number 2. Isn't this what boxing's all about, Sal? I mean, really, don't you think?
This is it. This is music to me is.
I mean,
listen, great.
You can't ask for a better matchup than 1 versus 2, especially when it's a computer ranking number 1 against number 2. Anyway, Mairis Briedis, he's a little older, and if you notice, but like I said, Usyk is 31, Briedis is 33, and he's a little shorter, 6'1", orthodox fighter. He, like I said, is ranked number 2. His record, he too is undefeated, 23 wins, no losses. He went the distance, ironically enough, in his very first professional fight, a 4-round decision. And then he went the distance, not too long after that. He did fight long-time journeyman Danny Williams and knocked him out. But Jeremy Omuna, he went 8 rounds with. And then went all the way up until 2014 when he fought a tough Ismail Abdulazov, and went the distance with him. His 4 biggest wins, and I believe that 3 of his last 4 fights were against top opposition. But one fight that I'm giving him credit for is the current WBA interim heavyweight champion. He beat and knocked out Manuel Char in the 5th round of a scheduled 8-round fight back in 2015. But the 4 fights that he fought, his last 4 fights, the 3 of them that I give him big credit for. In May of 2016, he fought Oduradola, knocked him out in 9 to pick up the silver belt of the WBC, which is their version of an interim title. And then in his last 2 fights, Marco Captain Huck, he went the distance with in April of last year. And then in his last fight, which was part of this tournament, he fought Mike Perez. Mike Perez looked great. He was a heavyweight that dropped down, looked great. I always liked the Cuban Mike Perez. He was never really mentally, just didn't seem like he was into it as a heavyweight. Came back as a cruiserweight, looked really good. I liked this fight. It was an entertaining fight, but Briedis won the fight. That brings us to this matchup. Who's going to win? This is a tough fight to pick. I believe it's a truly 50-50 fight, but at the end of the day, and I do believe that somebody's going to go down in this fight, if not out. I mean, you just can't. When you're looking at Briedis with a 78% knockout ratio, and you look at Usyk with an 85% knockout ratio, both similar in size, both similar in age, both similar in their level of opposition. Somebody's going to sleep. Maybe they can drag themselves up and make it to the end, but there's going to be some guys knocked down. I wouldn't be surprised if they both hit the canvas. At the end of the day, I'm picking Usyk to win this fight, and he's going to walk away heading to the Muhammad Ali round, and he's also going to be leaving that ring with 2 belts, the WBO and WBC cruiserweight titles. No disrespect to Briedis, and I'm sure he will get a chance right away, but either guy will leave a winner, in my opinion. Sal, do you have any thoughts on this fight?
I think you covered it all, Bill. I think that it should be a great fight, and I hope we can see it. And I tend to think that Usyk is going to also come out as the winner.
Yeah, I think Usyk. You could make the statement that he's, they're going to get the edge. I got somebody in the chat room right now, and I just happened to notice I was referring to Bunsey, the Bunsey Hour, and that's a boxing expert over in England. And actually, Steve Bunce his first name is Steve. Steve Bunce was going to come on my show one time, and something happened, and we never hooked up again after that. But I think this guy JB thinks that Steve Bunce is better than we are, Sal. But I think that we could go over in England, Sal, and top Steve Bunce on the Buncey Hour. I think that we should go and join Steve Bunce. Let Steve Bunce, let us come over and hang out. I just want to go to England.
Absolutely.
I want to go to England, Sal.
Let's follow the Buncing ball.
Yeah, let's follow the Buncing ball. But come on, man. Come on, man. Buncey wants to do. These guys should know. If you're in England, you should know that Buncey likes to do the ringside commentating now, man. He likes to doing that. We should be doing our daily show in England. That's what I think. The fans here in the United States don't appreciate it. The young YouTube fans, they don't care. All they care about is the rhetoric and smokescreen that they've been shoved down their throats. They drink that Kool-Aid. They all talk about race card and all about this. It's terrible. They bring it up when it shouldn't be brought up. And I want to go to a place that you can be yourself, and England seems to be that place. But anyway. Would you go to England? Why don't we go to England? Maybe we should just go there.
I would go to England to do a show. I'd go there for a couple of weeks, and I would love that. That'd be great. And I'd like to take a visit to Italy too. But definitely England would be good.
Well, listen, aren't they close to each other now? Hey, while we're on that side of the pond, while we're over there, we'll go. But no, listen.
Over there, we're going to do some European further visit.
Sal, let's be real. We're talking boxing, right? Boxing originated. Well, it did originate.
The Roman Empire.
No, it did. I was just going to say. Well, honestly, it originated in Italy in the Roman Empire. But the truth of the matter, boxing, as we know now, originated in England. And,
yes, it did.
The father of boxing, and the truth of the matter is that I just think that we should go like my man Tom Mono. We should just go over to England and start just saying we're here, and
there are
and
Marcus of Queensberry belts, designer belts.
Hey, leave the queens out of this. I mean, I don't want to rock any boats, Sal.
Hey, we should design a belt. You know what? You and I, we should design a belt called the Marcus of Queensberry on a buckle, and have all the rules and regulations into the belt etched and all that. I think that'd be great. I gave everybody an idea right now.
Now my man JB in the chat room's offering us. He's got a spare room in his house. He wants to rent to us. I mean, come on. We don't want to rent. We want somebody to sponsor us. Come on, man.
They want to pounds of euros over there.
I thought only the United States people were greedy bastards. I guess they're just as greedy over there.
Rent the room. Don't listen to him. I'm used to that.
I don't know, man. And let me just say this: we don't need another belt. We got so many belts. I mean, come on, man. There's too many belts.
Marcus of Queensberry belt. That would be great.
Did you ever watch on what the hell channel it is? It's on. It's like an Adult Swim. Mike Tyson has a cartoon called Mike Tyson miniseries.
Did you tell me about this?
You gotta watch. It is the funny.
Somebody told me about that just last week. I had no idea.
Let me tell you something.
On TV.
It's on Swim TV. It's here I am.
And it is Mike Tyson doing
Mike Tyson. No, it's Mike Tyson, and it is the funny. Some of the stuff that they say. Oh, it's edgy, but the stuff is so funny. But they have a character called the Marquis of Queensberry, and he's a ghost, and it's funny. If any of you guys out there have never seen it, You have to see. Remember Scooby-Doo? The mystery.
I'm a Scooby-Doo
like
fan.
it's a mystery. Well, that's kind of like what they are. They go and solve these mysteries, and it's
great.
funny.
How
funny
great
shit.
is that?
It's funny. It's only 15 minutes an episode. I record a whole bunch and then sit there and watch and laugh
Are you
my ass
kidding
off.
me?
Yeah, oh yeah,
Somebody
they're funny.
came into the pizzeria the other night. Who was it? Somebody just told me about that. Actually brought it up on their phone. I was cracking up because I saw it was Mike Tyson. He was talking like this and that, and it was unbelievable. I said, "This is really on TV."
Well, the funny thing is they cut up on himself. He cuts up on himself, and
he's self-deprecating. That's why everybody loves George Foreman when he came back. Everybody's gonna love Mike Tyson in his re-debut as a humanitarian and entertainer.
Look at
they already do.
JB,
those movies. The what was the movies called when he with those guys? They were going to Vegas. They were drunk or knocked out.
Hangover. But listen,
Mike Tyson was a pisser to Hangover with the lion.
Oh no, he was great in the first one. Listen, my man JB in the chat room, he's trying to justify because I was busting his chops. He wants to rent us the room, right? And he's going, it's capitalism. We're in a capitalism country. He's going, come on, my mortgage is high. He's going, my mortgage is high. And hey, listen, man. Listen, I'll tell you what. I know that if somebody can come over, if somebody will get us to go over to England, right, and put us in a studio for a week, and let us do our show out there as a trial basis, I will definitely pay JB $50 and I'll spend at least one night there, or 50 pounds or whatever the hell
I'll pay him more than that.
We'll give him we'll give him $50 worth of Monopoly money. That's what they use over in England, right? They don't have real money over there. A pound isn't money, is it? I don't know.
Just show me a field. I want to bring my metal detector over there and do some detecting.
Well, I'll tell you, if anybody can get thrown out of a country pretty quick, it'll be me and you, Sal. You'll come with a metal detector.
You're right.
Next thing you know, we'll be getting in trouble. But anyway, on this day, January 26th in boxing history.
If you try to fight things with pounds, you will be.
Yeah. On this day, January 26th, in boxing history on 2002, Vernon Forrest wins a 12-round decision over Sugar Shane Mosley to win the vacant IBF World Welterweight title, and that took place at Madison Square Garden in New York City. Just a note, such a shame what happened to Vernon Forrest, mugged and shot to death at a gas station. A very terrible situation to snuff out that man's life. And I will say this about Sugar Shane Mosley. Sugar Shane Mosley, as a lightweight, really was one of the best lightweights. There was I could not get enough of Sugar Shane Mosley as a lightweight and then a junior welterweight. Once he moved up to welterweight and beyond, he was just never the same fighter. But Sugar Shane Mosley, as a lightweight, was extremely talented. And if you didn't get to see him in those days, punch up some of his fights, because they were excellent fights. Loved Sugar Shane Mosley, and unfortunately, a lot of people forget him already. He's hardly been out of the sport that long. Anyway, also on this day in 1914, Percy Jones wins a 20-round decision over Bill Ladbury to win the world flyweight title, and that took place in London, Sal, right where our next home, where we're going to be living. You'll be making pizzas. You'll be showing the people in London what a real pizza tastes like. On this day,
spot on.
Spot on there, mate. On this day in 1991, Robert Quiroga wins a 12-round split decision over Vincenzo Ballacastro to retain his IBF World Super Flyweight title, and that took place in Sicily, Italy. He would fight his last professional fight on January 7th in 1995 and finish his career with a 20-win and 2 record. He was stabbed to death outside of a party on August 16th in 2004 at the young age of 34. Wow. Geez, I wonder why I added that little happy tidbit at the end of this one. And finally, on this day, on January 26th in 1952, Vic Tawil wins a 15-round decision over Peter Keenan to retain his world bantamweight title, and that took place at Rand Stadium in Johannesburg, South Africa, on this day in 1952. 52. I just want to say I'm glad that we're back. We'll be back for the whole week next week. And you guys enjoy the World Boxing Super Series fight if you can watch it. Here in the States, there are some fights on HBO. Sal and I will be breaking them down and giving you our opinions. Sal, let's brush up on our English because we're going to have to go to England, but hopefully we can go. But hey, listen, you guys have a great weekend. Enjoy the fights. Make sure you tune in Monday morning, same bat time, same bat channel. Until then, I'll leave you with this. Ciao, baby.